Hello everyone, Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching. I have another Monday quarterback video for you. This video comes from Sauk County Sheriff's Office. There was an incident in July of 2024 where this guy did some bad stuff. And so we're going to get into it. So normally how officer involved shooting videos get released to the public in Wisconsin is the Wisconsin Department of Justice's Division of Criminal Investigation will come out and do the entire investigation when there's an officer involved shooting, and then they will release that information on their website with some redactions, right? Like no graphic images of the dead bodies and, redacting social security numbers, stuff like that. But for the most part, pretty much everything else is visible. This occurred in July of 2024, and at time of recording, it is August 21st of 2024. So they obviously have not had enough time to finalize all their reports and then redact what needs to be redacted and put it on their website. But the Sauk County Sheriff's Office has decided to release some footage from this incident, which is great. I applaud them for doing that and not just relying on the state to want to take their time to release that information. So there is a couple of press releases from the Sauk County Sheriff's Office, and there's a news article that kind of gives some details about what's going on with this incident and really gives a good explanation on what's going on with, like the background information and all that. All right, so this first news release. And like I said, I don't know if this is how you pronounce Sauk. I'm assuming it's pronounced Sauk. And then the town of Baraboo. I've never heard them pronounced before, so if I'm butchering the names, oh well. On July 23rd, 2024, at approximately 11:06 p.m., an officer from the Sauk Prairie Police Department attempted a traffic stop on a red minivan in their jurisdiction for a possible intoxicated driver. The vehicle fled from the officer, disregarding traffic signs, and a pursuit was initiated. The vehicle was driving recklessly, traveling at a high rate of speed on Highway 78. The license plate for the minivan was obtained, and the pursuit was terminated. A Sauk County deputy came across the minivan minutes later on Highway 113 near County Road DL and followed the vehicle towards Baraboo. An officer deployed stop sticks in an attempt to stop the vehicle southeast of Baraboo on Highway 113 Water Street near Manchester Road. The vehicle continued northbound around the stop sticks, traveling at a high rate of speed, eventually crashing a short distance later. As Sauk County deputies arrived at the crash location, the male operator fired gunshots toward deputies before running off westbound into a wooded area along 113 Water Street near southeast corner of the city of Baraboo. One deputy suffered a minor injury as a result. The male suspect is still at large, blah, blah, blah. And then they released his name as Jeffrey Edward Miller, age 32. And then he has ties to that area. And then they provide a couple of photographs of this guy. And there's no clarification on the time frame on when these photographs were taken. But we see some neck tattoos here and here, but nothing on the trachea area. And then in this photograph, there's obviously there's obviously tattoos on the trachea area. So I would say this is obviously a more recent photograph. But as far as like how old this one could be, I have no idea. But let's go to the second news release. Updated shots fired. On Friday, July 26, 2024, the suspect, Jeffrey E. Miller, was found deceased inside of a residence in the village of Amherst, Wisconsin. His death is being investigated by the Wisconsin DOJ DCI. The Columbia County Sheriff's Office investigated the officer's actions from the night of July 23rd, 2024 in Sauk County related to the shots fired call. Columbia County's reports and investigations were then reviewed by the Sauk County District Attorney's Office. The Sauk County District Attorney's Office found, given the facts and circumstances presented, there was no basis for prosecuting any of the law enforcement officers involved. And then they provide a link to their 4 videos. Okay. Well, what they did not mention was what happened on the day of the 26th. So, let's talk about what the heck happened on the 26th. And to do that, I need to go to a news article from Stevens Point Journal by Karen Madden. Stevens Point, a 32-year-old man who shot at police during a nearly 24-hour armed standoff, died from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound, according to the state officials. Jeffrey E. Miller was wanted for an incident that occurred in Sauk Prairie July 23 when he reportedly fired at Sauk County deputies who tried to take him into custody after he fled from a traffic stop attempted by a Sauk Prairie police officer. The Wisconsin Department of Justice indicated an officer was injured during the Sauk County incident. On July 25, Sauk County contacted the Portage County Sheriff's Office regarding Miller, and authorities learned he was at 450 Mill Street in the village of Amherst. The Portage County and Marathon County Sheriff's Office's tactical teams served a search warrant at the home, and Miller opened fire from the attic of the home. Officers were able to safely remove several people from the home and arrested 5 people for suspicion of harboring a fugitive, according to the Department of Justice. They deployed gas into the residence and gave commands for Miller to exit, but he refused. On the afternoon of July 26, officers entered the home and found Miller dead with a firearm near his body. The preliminary results of an autopsy done on Miller indicated that he died of an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. And then it just talks about the DOJ doing the investigation, and it says the 5 people arrested for suspicion of harboring a fugitive are scheduled to make initial appearances on Wednesday. So, based off this guy's actions from the traffic stop, fleeing and then shooting at police, and then shooting at police again, and then based off his mugshots, his appearances, the neck tattoos and the face tattoo, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that it's probably safe to assume that this guy has been involved in the criminal justice system multiple times. I think it's probably safe to assume that this guy, the reason why he ran and then shot at police, one of 3 reasons. Well, actually, ultimately there's one reason, right? Like, he's going to go away for a long time. But what's that route look like? The 3 options I think that would lead to him fearing of being put away in a box for a long time are: 1, he is out on probation and parole for a previous crime that he's committed, and that if he gets his probation and parole revoked, he's going back for a long time. Or B, he is out on bond for some crime, and if he gets taken back to jail, he's going to have his bond revoked, and he's going to have to stay in jail until his trial and stuff is done with. And it could be possible that the trial and stuff could lead to him being locked away in a box for a long period of time. And then the third one is it's a possibility that he could have warrants out for his arrest, and that he knows that he has warrants, and those crimes that he has committed means that he could be going away to a locked box for a long period of time. So that's my guess on it. There's nothing out there that kind of gives any indication on why he did it or anything like that, but based off the circumstances, that's my beliefs. That's just my opinion. Another interesting thing to note is looking at the Sauk County Sheriff's Office Facebook page. The day after, so this occurred July 23rd. I'm sorry, July. Hold on. No, it was on July 24th. Never mind. So I thought this was something that was connected to it, but probably not. It probably could be connected because they all got drugs and stuff. So on Tuesday, according to the Sauk County Sheriff's Office, on Tuesday, July 23rd, the Sauk County Sheriff's Office conducted a check for a wanted person at 419 North Maple Street, number 24, in the village of North Freedom. While attempting the warrant service, cause was developed to conduct a probation and parole search of the residence related to ongoing drug activity. During the search, investigators located and seized methamphetamine, heroin, THC, drug paraphernalia, and other controlled substances. As a result, the below-listed individuals were taken into custody and incarcerated at the Sauk County Jail. A Wilbur Tuholsky, 69, of North Freedom, a Kim Popple, 61, Justin Popple, 33, Anna Wilson, 40, and a Fred Schwartz, 48. And all these charges that I'm seeing listed are drug stuff. A couple of them got probation violation, etc. So it's plausible that this guy could have been involved with them. It having occurred on the 23rd, and then he's getting into a traffic stop on the 24th. You know, he could have been thinking that they were after him, right, because of all the drugs and stuff going on with this. And that's why he decided to go. So, don't know that for sure. But, you know, I thought it was interesting that, almost within the time frame, really short time frame of these things occurring, these two were so close together. And I thought, you know what, there may be a connection there. Don't know for sure. There's nothing that's saying that these are connected, but I don't know how big the town of or the county of Sauk County is, and having these villages and all that. But yeah, I mean, usually the dirt bags run together, right? So if he wasn't directly involved in all this, I'd say he probably knew these people. Probably knew them and probably hung out with them before. Anyway, all right, so let's get done with this stuff and let's jump into the video. All right, so this is the dash cam footage from Deputy Benjamin Goodrow's vehicle. You'll notice that down here we got an hour and 28 minutes of footage. That is a lot. And fortunately for us, there's really just a few minutes of action in this recording for us to look at. And so I will skip through the most of this this dash cam footage, because there's just so much of it, right? In the very beginning here, what we're going to see is they are going down the road. You'll see headlights pointing towards the camera. You'll see a vehicle in front of you driving away, and then you see headlights pointing at you. And as they pass that vehicle with the headlights, that's the place where I think that they had tried to deploy the Stop 6. And you'll hear in the radio chatter how I think he's saying it's safe to go around now, whatever. And then very shortly after that, the vehicle crashes. And then action happens, and then for pretty much an hour, all we see is the roadway and the crashed vehicle and trees and a bunch of flashy lights reflecting off the leaves and stuff. And then we'll see an armored vehicle. So like I said, the beginning of this, we'll see some action. In the middle, a whole lot of nothing. And then at the end, we'll see a little bit of a vehicle driving by and stuff like that. If you want to see the full video and listen to everything in the background, I have this footage released on another video. And it's just a video saying the Sauk County sheriff officer involved shooting with no commentary. And it's just this video, the other videos, and they're full length, not being skipped or nothing. You can watch it in its full entirety. You just won't hear any commentary from me. It's just the recordings of what's going on. All right, so let's get into it. So we don't have any noise going on right now, and that's because the camera is in buffering mode. Some dash cams and some body cams, they will record video in a loop. So it records and deletes continuously until you hit the physical record button, and then it will include part of what was recorded into the hard copy recording, if that makes any sense. All right, so from here until about somewhere in here, this is what you see. And then you'll hear some stuff in the background, radio chatter, people talking, stuff like that. But it's quite a bit of nothingness going on. So there's the armored vehicle, but there's another point in this video where it's kind of funny. All right.
Water in Washington, okay? I extremely.
This is funny.
I thought he was at Water in Washington, so I came on effing here and nobody was there. Who the fuck is that? What are you doing? Who is that? Detective. Come on. That's the vehicle right in front of you. Pay attention to it.
He came in there, a Leroy Jenkins. Listen to that again.
I thought he was at Water in Washington, so I came on effing here and nobody was there. Who the fuck is that? What are you doing? Who is that? Detective. Come on. That's the vehicle right in front of you. Pay attention to it.
Oh man, and I would have missed that too. If which, like I said, I have not watched in the entirety of all this space of this footage. I've just done the skipping stuff, and it was when I was doing a second recording, because I kind of messed up the first one, that I saw this, and I thought, man, that's kind of gold. So then I decided to go back to the beginning and just continuously hit the 30-second forward button to kind of see a bunch of stuff, or see what I could miss or make miss, and came across that and thought, that is freaking gold. All right, so here we're going to see the tactical truck coming up, and actually I think one thing I don't like about this. There we go. I'll just have to back it up by several seconds because yeah, that's what it was. So I came across the tactical vehicle and I was trying to trace its stuff or whatever, and that's how I found the detective car. Oh, backed it up too far. All right, so down this road a little bit, and we'll see this in the second squad cam footage because in the second squad cam, this guy actually leaves the scene and drives down this road. There's a bunch of cops down here, right? And so the tactical vehicle is coming from that side down there. The tactical vehicle, it's an armored vehicle, and I'm assuming that what's going on here is they are driving this length of road to see on the side of the road to see if this guy fell down somewhere and he could be, incapacitated or dead, since the officer did fire return shots, or they think he might be hiding around there somewhere, and they could be using night vision or thermal devices to scan the immediate area to see if he's there. So that truck starts down there, makes its way up the road to where these officers are at. And then we'll skip forward. We'll see the detective Leroy Jenkins it into the crime scene there. And then the tactical truck comes back around. There we go, back it up. Alright, so he turns back around, and then they pull up to the suspect vehicle. We stop around there. And at first, you don't see anything that looks like movement going on. And I would suspect that what's going on is, they're probably scanning from the windows using their night vision. And then one person might be going up through the roof hatch and using a thermal to look out and scan the area with a thermal camera. Or there could be cameras mounted on the truck itself, and they're just operating the cameras from inside the vehicle and scanning and see what they can see. And then eventually you'll see people moving around when they get out. You see someone, back it up some. You'll see looks like they're maybe getting out of the back of the vehicle. They're moving around. No idea what they're doing. But like I said, I'd say it's possible that they're using some type of night vision or thermal to look around. It being a tactical vehicle and everything, I'd assume that they're SWAT guys and they have that equipment.
This is a real big plot of land. It's pretty small. You're good. Get in touch with Sauk. Call out. Copy.
And they all hang around that vehicle. It doesn't look like they really dismount and go into the woods. At least I didn't see anything that looked like that. It's plausible that a couple of them broke off and went into the woods, but it just doesn't seem like that. All right, and that is it from this this dash cam footage. Let's go back to the beginning and we'll take a look at the shots being fired. One thing I don't like about this slide bar is it's very sensitive and you can very quickly skip a bunch of stuff. So all right, we'll play from here. All right. It's very hard to tell with the grainy footage and everything, but if you watch as he starts to come out the driver's side window with his weapon, it almost looks like it could be like maybe an AR pistol or an AK pistol potentially. It just looks like it's something a little large. And another reason why I think it might be like an AK or AR pistol, because he fires a lot of rounds. Now, it could be that he has an extended magazine for a pistol or like a drum magazine for a pistol. But I just have a feeling it might be like an AR pistol or an AK pistol. Try to look at him coming out. And like I said, it just looks like it fits that kind of profile of a weapon like that. And then, as he's climbing out of his vehicle, it almost sounds like he NDs the gun. Fires a round off as he's getting out. So the collision here, the way he's hit, his door is probably incapable of being opened, which is why he's going out the window here.
Shot fire! Shot fire! I went 13, I'm hit.
Alright, so that's the dash cam footage. Let's go into the second. I'm sorry, did I just say body cam footage? That's the dash cam footage. So let's go into the second dash cam footage. Alright, here is the second dash cam footage from Matthew Tate. And again, what I said on the first one, it's very long, so we'll skip through the middle of it because it just shows a roadway. And again, the reason why there's no video, or I'm sorry, no audio, is it's on a buffer mode. But you can see the vehicle in front of him is the other deputy's footage that we just witnessed. So he's right behind them, very close.
Up. 9113, go through.
Copy. We are in pursuit of Water Street, driving in the wrong lane of traffic, coming up to Washington, speed at 70. Roads are good, no traffic.
774.
We are just on the shots fired, shots fired!
Shots fired. Holding repeater.
42 is in road. Shots fired, shots fired!
Fired.
15, I'm hit.
15, you're hit.
I need all responding units, 1033 to this location. Shots fired.
412, all responding units, 1033. Is somebody hit?
Iowa 13 Sauk, he ran back towards water. A squad just passed him. He just ran in the woods.
10-4 ran into the woods near 113, squad just passed him.
I'm behind you. What do you want? Hang tight, no. I got cover on the car. What?
All right, so not much else to see from this guy's point of view. We do see some vehicles coming in from the other end there. So one already came through.
13, I need your 1020.
And we're going to see another one come through.
Stop all traffic coming off water right now. Tell all Baraboo squads to stop.
10-4, stop all traffic coming off water. 221 copy.
I got traffic shut down here at Manchester and White Oak, 113.
10-4, Manchester and 113 traffic stop. Unit on repeater.
They're coming my way. I'll be staged here.
So in the very beginning phase of this, we do see a couple cars coming up and through here. So we know the suspect has dismounted the vehicle, gone down this way, and these other units are coming in. He has gone into the woods somewhere, right? And these officers coming up through here could have very easily been shot at and ambushed by this guy. But I think that this guy, like I said earlier, he's been involved in the criminal justice system multiple times. So I'd say that he probably knows that, or strongly feels that they don't know exactly where he's at. And because he's had experience running away from police before, he probably knows that since he's in the woods, or is likely in the woods, that they can't see him, right? And you can just kind of gauge when the car is driving very fast and it's not showing any signs of slowing down or anything like that, they're trying to get to where you were or where the incident initially began at. So he probably had enough smarts about himself to be like, hey, they don't know exactly where I'm at. They're racing past. They're not slowing down, so I don't need to shoot. If one of them did stop in the middle of that road and get out and start looking, there is a good chance that I think they would have been fired upon, especially if they got out the flashlight and started scanning the woods and stuff like that. Nighttime stuff in rural areas can be difficult. It's even difficult in urban areas too, and that's with lots of ambient light being in your, well, sometimes in your favor. But when you're out in a very country, rural area like this, and you've got woods, if you don't have night vision or thermals and you're just using white light, there's a lot of disadvantages there. And so this is why I think it's very important for state police and sheriff's offices to have night vision and or thermal capability when they're in environments like this, because that is a game changer. That is truly officer safety equipment. The ability to see in the dark and the other person not know that you're seeing in the dark gives you a big advantage. I mean, just think about think about when you was a kid and you played hide and seek at night. Or if you did play hide and seek at night, or you did flashlight tag and stuff, or just going out hiking at night. Like, even if you have not had any of those experiences, a playground or a park during the day, like try to imagine what that looks like at night. And you're at the entrance area, or someone is at the entrance area with a flashlight, and you're somewhere in that park or you're somewhere on that trail. That flashlight they have is going to give their position away, and you're going to know exactly where they're at up until the point they figure out where you're at. And so by them throwing that light around, as I just said, you know exactly what their location is. But B, as that beam moves around, you know what they're looking at, you know what they're looking near, and what they're not looking at, and what they're not looking near. So, like the cliche quintessential prison break scene, where the guys break out of their cell and they're in the yard and the big spotlight is spanning left and then right. And as the light crosses and moves away, there's darkness that they can run through. Then they'll run and get to a spot and hide. And the light comes back by again and scans the area and leaves another dark void. And then they take off again and go hide behind this thing. And then the light comes back by and as it passes them, it leaves a dark void, and then boom, they run again. So same concept, right? So it can be very dangerous to go into an armed conflict searching for an armed person at night in a rural area with just flashlights. It's almost damn near suicidal if you think about it. And that is why night vision and thermal imaging technology is so important. And it's crazy to think that after all these years of having night vision technology, that the damn things are so freaking expensive. Still freaking expensive. I mean, there's not that much of a price difference from the late 90s, early 2000s to now. And I know the stuff, nothing, I mean, unless you're, Democrat, liberal, nothing can be free. But that technology, it's analog technology, and it's been around for quite some time, but yet it is so freaking expensive. And it's very cost prohibitive for people to get into the night vision game. Even a simple monocular, a PVS 14, just one tube, can be anywhere from $2,000 to $3,500 to $4,000 or something like that, depending on options. Like the housing, the lens, the tube. Just for the housing alone, just the box that image intensifier goes into, the housing alone, that can be damn near $1,000 right there. Just the plastic body. Why? Like, why does the plastic body have to cost that freaking much? And then the tubes themselves. The tubes are probably what's the most expensive stuff. Those can be like $2,000 alone, depending on what they are. But, and then the mounts, the mount that you get, there's a mount out there that literally all it does is you screw it onto your night vision device, or you click it onto your night vision device, and then it clicks into your helmet. That's it. That's all it does. It just holds the night vision, and you click it onto your helmet or whatever head device you're using to mount that thing to. And it's like $500. Just a freaking mount is $500. And then the helmets and the mounts that you wear, those are expensive too. So very, very expensive stuff to get into. And law enforcement, they don't have the greatest budgets, right? A lot of agencies are poor and they just cannot afford that stuff. I mean, hell, there's agencies out there that can't even afford to give an officer their own equipment, right? Like, there's officers out there today who are having to buy their own freaking holsters, buy their own gun just to go to work. Like, how stupid is that? So those agencies that are like that, they're sure as shit not going to be able to afford a $3,000 night vision device, let alone a $400 mount just to put it on your damn helmet. Anyway, going into a long rant, I wish the night vision stuff wasn't so expensive, so that we could see more agencies, more officers getting into this stuff, because it is truly life-saving equipment. Night vision, the way it works is it amplifies light thousands of times. And so you can turn this thing on, look through it, and what you see right now through this, you just see like darkness and darkness there. You put on night vision, you'll see what's in this dark area over here. It'll be like, I wouldn't say it's like turning on daytime light on the sun, but it almost replicates in a way of like it being kind of daytime or a big spotlight being shown out, right? Like, you see a whole lot more with night vision than what you can with your naked eye. And no one knows that you've got it turned on. So like with a flashlight, you turn your flashlight on and you start, let's say, look in this image where you're at. Say someone's standing in front of this car right here. They turn a flashlight on and you see the beam point out to here, and then it goes across, and you're hitting these woods and going across and across the road, and then boom, over here. If there's someone out here, they're going to see that light turn on, and they're going to see where that light is pointed at, and then it's moving. With night vision, you don't see shit. Well, the person using the night vision does, but the other person that you're looking for, they don't see a damn thing. They have no idea that you've turned that thing on, unless they themselves have night vision and you are emitting an infrared light from your device. So normal criminals and stuff, people out there, they're not most likely going to have night vision. So if you got night vision turned on, they don't even know you got it turned on. Same with thermal imaging. You got a thermal camera out there and you're scanning right here, they have no idea that you're operating that thing and looking. The only way that anyone could know that you've got those things turned on is the display on those devices. So the viewfinder that you look through is basically like a little tiny TV screen projecting an image for you to look at, and that's light, right? So depending on distance and everything, they could see like the green light from the night vision reflecting maybe off your skin or your eye area if you're turning at a certain angle or something like that, and they're kind of within a close distance. The thermal imaging, depending on the device you've got, if you got like one of those big handheld units with a big screen on it, yeah, that's going to emit some light and stuff. But if you got a little small binocular thing or a monocular, no, probably not as much. But great pieces of technology to be able to search in the night and they not know that you're searching for them. So then the only thing that comes into play is your noise discipline, like as you're moving through the woods. That's what's going to give you away is the noise that you make just moving through an area. They won't see you. They might hear you, but by the time they kind of figure out where you're at as you're moving, hopefully you will have been able to see them with your night vision or thermal. So let's move forward, skip through some of this footage. And as we're going to see in the body cam footage, they're all hiding behind the cars here. And we don't see anybody go out on foot to go do anything. They pretty much wait for the SWAT team to get there. Oh, what's this vehicle? Alright, so there's a SWAT truck coming.
Just me and EMS right now.
So it's hard to see what's going on with the truck here. But there is a turret on top.
Right now.
So that could be part of the turret that's been opened. And these things right here, I mean, these could be floodlights, or there could be cameras there, or that could be a camera that's used to pan around. It's just difficult to say with any certainty. I'd say those big square things or rectangle things were probably spotlights.
Keep an eye. 6.
All right, here comes the detective. What a goober.
1041.
That's the vehicle, Aslo.
It is anyway.
All right, so he's going to get in his vehicle and move. So, it's been an hour and a half, pretty much, so far since this thing has occurred. We see the SWAT truck go by. I would suspect that there's also a possibility that they flew a drone, and they used the drone to fly over the area to look and did not spot anything. I'd say there's potentially the possibility that they decided that they might wait till daytime to do a search versus try to go through there at night. There are some advantages and disadvantages to doing it both ways. But don't know for sure because all the information for this thing has not been released. But eventually, this guy gets back in his vehicle, and then he leaves this scene up here and then drives down the road, and then we'll see what's at the end.
Sauk information. It'll be apartment 12.
There's a lot of residential houses here too. And so a worrisome thing is, and this is probably something else that they had to do that night, is they probably went door to door checking on people to make sure that he didn't break into someone's house and kill them or take them hostage or something like that. So even though they're in a very rural area and, there's not like a painstaking process to clear things like there would be in an urban environment, it's still a difficult thing to deal with. All that terrain, all the trees. You could be, if you've never been spending time in the woods looking for people, it's hard to explain. Like, you could be in one position and looking in the direction of where they're at, and there's just so many trees there that, depending on the density and everything, it could be 10 yards away and there's no way you see that person. And they'd be staring, they could have eyes on you, know exactly where you're at, see all of you, but because they haven't moved any, and you haven't detected that movement, and they're laying down, you can be very close to people and not see them in the woods. And that's even also during daytime. Like, literally, during the day, going through the woods, someone could be a short distance away from you and you not even see them. And they don't even have to be wearing camouflage. Like, they really don't. They don't have to be wearing any mossy oak or any crap like that. And it's very difficult to see them. So just because it's an open area, no buildings and stuff to go hide in, just trees, like, it can still be very difficult to find someone in the woods. And then when there's houses nearby, that makes it even more difficult. So now that you've taken all this time trying to go through the woods, go up and down the terrain, look in these ravines and stuff like that, now there's the buildings and stuff, okay? Are there outhouses? Is there dog houses? Is there, like the sheds and stuff? And then the houses themselves, going door to door, checking on those, making sure that there's nothing going wrong and all that. That's a painstaking process. And while they're doing that, that guy could be hoofing it, right? Like, he could still be going through the woods to a road somewhere, and on the road, taking that road and having easy travel until he hears a car or sees headlights in the distance, and then jumps off the side of the road and just goes a couple feet into the tree line and waits until a car passes. And then when it passes, he can get back out on that road again, start jogging along until he hears or sees another car, jump back in the woods, wait for him to pass, and then jump back out again. I would say that based off the fact that he was found in another town, or what they call a village, I would say it's possible that he was picked up by someone. And I would suspect that he probably made his initial movement from the vehicle, went into the woods, and went through the woods, probably following along the roadway. Or he could have been on the roadway itself, running down it, and saw the police cars coming, heard them coming, hid in the woods, waited till they passed, and then continued going on, saw that other cop car coming, stopped, waited, and then continued on. And he probably could have gotten down into this area and started moving through those streets and houses and stuff before all the rest of the reinforcements got there. It's possible that these vehicles that we see parked and staged, it's possible that he could have been in the woods and seen them, saw them sitting there blocking traffic, and then slowly made his way around them to his safe area and then kept on hoofing it. Until you've tried to find someone in the woods, like, you just don't know how difficult it is. Even when you have night vision and thermal. Thermal makes it a whole lot nicer, a whole lot easier. But even with night vision, you still got shadows and stuff with night vision, so you still got to deal with that kind of stuff. But it's difficult. It's difficult to find someone at night in the woods. It's not as easy as some people make it out to be. So this guy, he leaves, and it looks like he goes back to, I guess, the police station or the sheriff's office, whatever, because we see more people here. All right, and so that is the end of this guy's dash cam footage. Let's go into the body cam footage. All right, now we're going to get into the body cam footage of Deputy Benjamin Goodrow. Again, like I noted earlier, there's no audio right now because of the camera being in buffer mode. Here in a few seconds, the audio will kick in.
Bikes deployed, bikes are off the ground. Keep going. Went around the...
10-4, spikes up. 913 going through.
Copy. We are in pursuit. Water Street, driving in the wrong lane of traffic. Coming up to Washington. Speeds at 70. Roads are good, no traffic. 1050, 1050. We are just on the... Shots fired! Shots fired! Shots fired! Shots fired! 9-1-13, I'm hit. Sauk, he ran back towards water. A squad just passed him. He just ran in the woods. Dave, he ran that way in the woods. My 113 Sauk. I've been grazed in the arm. I'm 10-2. I'm in the fight.
Hey, are you hit?
913 grazed in the arm.
Are you hit? Right in my arm, I think. I'm good, I'm good. Hey! I need lights!
All right, so let's pause it right here. So far we got about 3 minutes, maybe 2.5 minutes of action here. And this 2.5 minutes of action, there's a lot of talking points. So let's go back to the beginning and skip into the action.
We are
right, so first things first. Inside the patrol car here, he's got his left hand on the steering wheel and his right hand is on the microphone. Let me see if I can get a better.
Just on the shots fired. 1050, 1050.
All right, well, I'm not going to get a good freeze frame out of this because it's just a dark environment. But like I said, his left hand is on the steering wheel and his right hand is holding the microphone to the radio. This is where I wish police car manufacturers and the police radio manufacturers would work together and come up with a solution for operating the vehicle and operating the radio at the same time. They've already done that with motorcycles, or at least perhaps the products from the radio side just mesh well with motorcycles. Motorcycle police have a push-to-talk button installed on the handlebar of their motorcycle so that they can be driving the motorcycle, have both hands on the handlebars, and use their thumb to press the push-to-talk button and just start talking into the radio, or actually their microphone that's in their helmet. That's a pretty damn cool solution. NASCAR drivers, if I remember correctly, have a push-to-talk button mounted on their steering wheel so that as they're driving down the racetrack at fast speeds, they don't have to take their hand off the wheel. They can just press a button and they start talking. That type of technology needs to be incorporated into modern day police cars. Why it has not happened yet is beyond me. It is way past time for that stuff to be rolling out and becoming a thing. If this guy had had the ability to keep his right hand free, he would have been able to do some more things in this scenario here. It would have been safer for him to be operating the vehicle with both hands on the wheel. It would have been better for him to be able to use that right hand without anything in it to reach down for his gun, maybe fight through the windshield like he ended up doing, but a little bit closer, actuate that gear selector quicker and get off the X quicker. A number of things. So that's one thing I wish would happen is Motorola, Kenwood, ICOM, these manufacturers say, hey, you know what? The police cars need to push a talk button on the steering wheel. And the Ford Motor Company or Dodge Company are like, hey, you know what? We will provide some extra wiring through the steering wheel column to accommodate that. Now, all you got to do is just, select one of these little buttons on the steering wheel there to hook your or wire your radio into, and then you can press that button and it will activate the speaker on the ceiling or wherever, and it all meshed together. So if anybody has any connections to the radio manufacturers and the police car manufacturers, do some talking. Try to get that stuff done. Later on, and while we're talking about technology stuff, I'll go ahead and talk about this one too. The siren. So when he backs up and he comes to a stop and gets out of the car, the siren is still turned on. And a couple minutes past the point where I paused at, you'll hear the sergeant guy say, turn that siren off. So the siren manufacturers develop their siren control boxes with some extra capabilities. You can wire your siren into your vehicle so that when you throw that vehicle into park, it automatically shuts the siren off. You can even wire the siren into the vehicle's horn. that's on the steering wheel, so that when you tap the horn on the steering wheel, that changes the siren tone. That way, you don't have to be reaching down on the console, pressing buttons and taking your eyes off the road and looking down to see where a button's at and pressing it to change the tone. You just tap the horn and that changes the tone. And like light bars and stuff, like when you go to press the brake on the vehicle, that causes some of the flashy lights to the rear to stop flashing. That way, people can see that the actual brake lights are actually firing and it's coming to a stop, versus all they see is flashy lights and they don't know the vehicle's immediately stopping at that point. Those are all things that exist today, but some agencies just don't incorporate those things. And that's because agencies out there are different on how they set their equipment up, or how their equipment comes set up when they buy the stuff. And every agency is different on how that processes go. There are some agencies that will buy the police model package vehicle that doesn't really have much of anything in it, and then they will install the stuff themselves, or they'll send it to a vendor and have the vendor put the stuff in it. When they do it themselves or they send it to a vendor, they may choose and opt to just do the basic wiring stuff. Like the siren box will just be having wires ran from it into the speaker, into the hot wire and the negative. And then they don't mess with anything else, because that's, it could be too much work to be doing, right? Same with the vendor. The vendor may just, do that basic install, and then to do all the extra stuff is an extra upcharge maybe. Or instead of just buying just a basic police model package vehicle with nothing in it, agencies can also choose to buy the vehicles that have the stuff in it. And when they do that, it may come basically wired, or it may become expertly wired, which those aren't terms, but I'm just making them up. And so those are a few different ways to do it. And there's some like state agencies out there, and even some city agencies or county agencies, that kind of like have their own garage, so to speak. And they'll get the vehicles in and they'll do all the outfitting themselves, like a full line, like assembly shop kind of thing. And there's a cool video from California Highway Patrol where they show you the process of them getting new vehicles in, and they basically put it like I said, in an assembly line sort of thing. And they'll go through installing light bars and the siren packages and the boxes, the radios, the laptops, the printers, like all that stuff. And it's a pretty neat video to see like how all that stuff comes together. But anyway, a lot of technological options out there that unfortunately are not utilized with agencies, and then there's some things that need to be in existence but just aren't in existence right now. Another way to remedy not always having to have that car microphone in your hand is you can leave it clipped to its mounting place. And a lot of middle consoles will have a little mounting place on there to put the radio. You can leave that thing clipped right there and just reach down, press the button, talk a little bit louder, and your voice is still going to go through, no problem. If, the radio is on an actual clip and it's like on the dashboard piece itself, or even if it's in the middle console, and you're still wanting to hold the microphone in your hand, instead of having to go through that little process of clicking it into the little mount, there is a aftermarket product, and I forget the name of it, but basically you get two pieces, and they're magnets, and one piece will click into the microphone mount, whether it's in the middle console or in the dashboard, and then the other one clicks onto the microphone itself, and it's magnetic. So you just touch it to the mount, and it clicks in place. Like, you don't have to sit there and guide that little swivel thing into that little bracket and get it just right to make it click in. You just touch it on there and it sticks. And because the microphone mount is magnetic, you don't even have to put it on there. You can just slap it on the middle console somewhere and it's going to stick on there. That, I think, is probably a good solution if you're adamant about wanting to have that microphone in your hand. But if you need to get rid of it quickly, you can just slap it down on the middle console and it's going to stay there and not go anywhere, versus dropping it and it dangling down into the floor or going in between the seat and the console and then being hard to get out, etc. Another option with the microphone, and this is one thing that I do, is I take the microphone, I unconnect it from the radio head itself. Like, I pull that little cord out and I run the cord through the handle on my laptop. So I have a Tough Book in the car, and I just pull that handle out of the Tough Book, and I run that cord through that open piece of the handle, and then I click it back into the radio head. That way, the microphone itself rests right there in that handle, and it's sort of like it's like a cradle of sort. Like, it fits perfectly in there, and it sits upright. And so whenever I use the car radio, I'll lift it up and talk into it, and I set it back down in that little cradle piece right there. And because the laptop is higher positioned and it's swiveled and pointed towards me, if I want to, all I have to do is just reach over, leave the radio sitting in its little spot, press the button, and I can talk out loud and people can still hear me. So those are some things that can be done to mitigate having to keep a microphone in your hand and having better control over that microphone in the car. Because there's a lot of stuff going on when you're driving a vehicle and you're doing all this stuff. Like, there's a lot of multitasking going on. All right, so enough with talking about that boring stuff. He's in an upright position, and then he starts to lean down as he's taking contact.
We are just on the... Shots fired! Shots fired!
So you can see bullet holes in his windshield.
Shots fired! Shots fired! 1050, 1050. We are just on the... Shots fired! Shots fired!
Wow. Alright, so that's a good freeze frame right there. You can even see like the glass and everything, or the light reflecting off of it as these things hit his vehicle. So he's got his left hand on the steering wheel and his right hand holding the radio. When he first initially takes contact, he's having to reach over with his left hand and try to actuate the gear selector. And I'm assuming that he just doesn't get it into the right gear that he wants, because it's kind of an awkward position to kind of reach that hand over and try to actuate that. And he abandons that and then uses his right hand to reach up and get the gear selector while still holding the microphone of the radio. And finally gets that vehicle into reverse to get off the X. He is on the X for several seconds taking rounds. And the X is where you do not want to be at, right? Like, the X is where the bullets are landing. You want to get off the X as quick as you can. Since his vehicle was still in gear, I think probably the best option he could have done was floor it. Just smash that accelerator and continue driving down the road. Now, people could argue, well, that means he would be driving closer to the bad guy. Yeah, I mean, he was already close to the bad guy to begin with. But it would have changed it from him being a stationary target, easy for someone to set their sights on and put aim shots on, versus he becoming a moving target, and it's harder to put aimed shots onto a moving target. So when this first starts out and you start hearing gunshots, you hear multiple gunshots before you ever see holes going in through the windshield. So those first few rounds that guy fired, I think he was just kind of blindly, putting down, suppressing fire, so to speak. He just started blasting rounds, and he's blasting rounds. He starts to aim. And as he's starting to aim, he's honing in on this guy's windshield driver's side area. And he is able to do that because this officer is sitting in one position for a period of time. If he would have smashed that accelerator and just drove past as fast as he could, I think there's a high possibility that he would not have been hit with any of those rounds. His car would have, but him personally, probably not. And then once he got past him and got off the X, then he could have hit the brakes, dismounted the vehicle, gone into the ditch, or play around the vehicle if he wanted to. I think that by sitting there and screwing with the gear selector, trying to throw it into reverse to get off the X, I think that obviously prolonged his amount of time being on the X and put him at higher risk of being ventilated. There's an acronym called MOVE, M-O-V-E. Motionless operators ventilate easily. And so that relates to getting off the X. You get off the X fast, explosively fast. If not, you're going to get ventilated. And this guy came pretty close to being ventilated. Another option that he could have done is dismount the vehicle right then and there. Now, generally, if your vehicle's in drive, it's in gear, you don't want to do that. You want to hit the accelerator and drive off the X. But another option he could have done was just completely dismount the vehicle right there, bail out the driver's side door, and go to the ditch line, go to the tree line, or use the angles of the vehicle, as that vehicle would most likely be rolling forward at that point since it was probably still in gear. I don't think that would be a great option. I think, like I said, the best option would be just smash that accelerator and get off the X. But since he decided to throw it in the reverse, it does look like he has ducked down. And that ducking down has probably saved his life. Because we do see some bullet holes in this windshield, and they appear after he has ducked down. And so if he was in an upright position, where would those bullets have hit? I don't know. But I would venture to say that once the Wisconsin Department of Justice completes this investigation, they're going to have photographs of his squad. And we're going to see the bullet impacts of this vehicle and probably see the crap, I forgot the name of the little trajectory rods. They stick through the windshield and stuff to show what the trajectory of the bullet is. We'll probably see some of that stuff and get a better idea, but that's probably going to be months away before they ever release all that stuff. All right. So you talked about technology stuff, getting off the X. All right.
Shot fired! Shot fired! Right with 13, I'm hit.
All right. So, as he's come to a stop and he has uprighted himself into a upright sitting position, he has obviously noticed the bad guy running away. And he chooses to shoot at the bad guy as he's running away. I have no problem with that whatsoever. That's perfectly legal. Tennessee versus Gardner. This dude has obviously demonstrated that he is a substantial risk to the public. His actions so far have proven that he has no regard for anyone else's life. So this officer would most definitely be justified in using deadly physical force on a fleeing felon. would have no problem whatsoever if one of those rounds would have popped that dude in the back of the head or in the back. No problem whatsoever. And it'd be perfectly legal. However, shooting through the windshield at that incredible distance is just not effective. He might as well just be shooting his gun into the air at this point, in my opinion. Windshields, although you can shoot through a windshield and hit targets, generally the most effectiveness that you can get with that is when the target is close to you. In my vehicle tactics class that I teach, when we finally get to the part of shooting through the windshield, which is pretty much the only damn thing people want to do when they take a vehicle tactics class, like, I want to shoot through the windshield, bro. Yeah. All right, like that's the Disneyland effect of a vehicle tactics class. Like when it gets to shooting through the fucking windshield part of the class, like the whole rest of the class, everyone's like, yeah, that's cool, yeah, whatever. And then it finally gets to the windshield part, and all the phones come out, and they're like, yeah, I'm an operator, bruh. I get it, shooting through the windshield's a cool thing. But when it gets to that point of the class, that's when I really see a lot of aha moments, and people realize, hey, shooting through a windshield fucking sucks. So what we'll do is we'll put a target right there in front of the car, right there at the bumper, right there at the hood, and take one of the best shots in the class, put them in the seat, and we'll have them slowly draw, get a sight picture, and just very slowly squeeze that trigger and get a round off. That way they can be the most accurate that they can be. And when that target is that close to the vehicle, and we've put a little dot on the target with a marker or something, or, if it's, depending on what the target is, if it's just a cardboard target, I'll take a little marker and make a dot. And that round generally never hits the dot or the mark. It is always going to be off somewhere. It can be off to the left, right, up, down. And when the students see that deviation at that close, they're like, huh. And then we move the target back several feet. And sometimes the round is on very far edges of the target, or it doesn't even hit the target at all. And that's where they get that light bulb moment. They're like, oh shit, like that windshield really throws them off. And so, one, that kind of dispels this myth that you can just, shoot through your windshield and hit targets all day long. And it also reinforces why you should try to put your following rounds through that same hole. Make a bigger hole so that as more of that material's been eaten away, the bullets going through that passage are not touching anything and thus are not being deviated, and those following ones are going to be more accurate. So when targets are up close, yeah, you can shoot through the windshield and maybe hit them. At that distance that dude was at, like freaking 50 yards probably, like he's pretty far away. There's just no way that this guy would have been able to make an aimed shot on that dude. It just would have been pure luck that one of the rounds would have went through the windshield and actually hit the guy. Because when you're putting a round through a windshield is a sandwich of laminate glass, and as it goes through that is going to cause that round to deviate. It will not go in a straight path anymore. It will, or as far as from what your point of aim was. So your point of aim was at one spot, you send that round through the windshield, it's not going to follow that. It's going to move it one way or another. It's going to make it go to the left, go to the right, go up, go down. So shooting through the windshield at this point is totally ineffective. But I have no problem with him shooting at the guys he's running. And it would have been better if he did actually hit the guy. Then hopefully the situation would have been ended right there. So one of the things to think about when you're shooting through a windshield is the glass dust that is going to be created when you do that, and also the deafening sound of shooting inside an enclosed space like that. When you're sitting in a car and all the windows are rolled up and you pop a round off, holy shit, is it loud! Very loud. And when you start pulverizing that windshield with projectiles, it's going to create a lot of glass dust. And so that glass dust will be swirling through the air, and you could breathe some of it in, you could get some of it in your eyes. So one thing I recommend when you are shooting through the windshield is to close one eye. That way, if the glass dust blows back and one eye is contaminated with that glass dust and you're having issues looking through it and being able to see, then the eye that you had covered with having it closed will be good to go once you uncover it, and you can still continue to fight. Versus if you have both eyes open and that stuff blows back and contaminates both eyes, and now you're Stevie Wonder in a gunfight. This glass dust and particles, aside from it getting in your eyes and mouth and stuff, it could also get into the gun. And so, what causes his malfunction? I don't know for sure what has caused his malfunction. And months from now, when the Wisconsin DOJ releases their stuff, maybe there will be some more information there to kind of shed some light on what has actually occurred. But there is a possibility that some of that glass dust got into the ejection port as the gun was cycling, and as it was stripping around off that magazine and inserting it into the chamber, enough of that dust was in there that when it finally slammed shut, it locked it. It helped lock it in place. The second thing that I think could have caused that malfunction is just a bad casing. Just a bad casing that made it through quality inspection that shouldn't have, and it overswelled and then locked inside the breech. We'll talk more about that here in a second. So as he bails out of the vehicle, he dumps the magazine out of the gun. Now, why is he doing this? Well, it's possible, that's a cool freeze frame, it's possible that as he was continuing to fire and that gun potentially seized up and wouldn't shoot anymore, and as he was exiting the vehicle, he was thinking that his gun was empty. It's hard to say for sure if that's what it is. Or as he was getting out of the vehicle, he knew he fired a bunch of rounds and he's going to need to reload anyway. So as he's bailing out of the vehicle, he's dumping a mag that only has a few rounds in it. He's going to be doing a reload. So one of those two is going on. So that is a crappy situation to be in. His slide on his gun is seized up, like it will not move. And as I alluded to before, there's two things I think that could be going on here. One, there's enough particulate matter of the glass dust and everything swirling around. It could have gotten to the ejection port as the gun was cycling, and as it was stripping a round out of the mag and throwing it into the breech, enough glass dust has gotten in there that when it finally closed in, it just kind of made it stick. Or probably the more likely one is just a bad ammo. One of the casings that he loaded into the gun was a little out of spec, and the casing itself swelled out more than what it should have, and caused that gun to lock up. I've had this happen before with AR-15, shooting a mix of steel and brass ammo. I was shooting a bunch of steel, and then I put some brass in and fired, and boom, bolt would not move at all. And I had to get a cleaning rod, stick it in through the muzzle, and just basically hammer the shit out of it to pop it loose. What had happened was that brass casing swelled a little bit inside that breech, and because the steel ammo, the steel doesn't really like swell any when it bursts or fires, and so a lot of fouling, was able to go around the casing and the breech and everything, and that brass casing went in there, and it swelled enough to where it just kind of stuck to the walls of the breech. The second time that I've had something like this occur with only time with a pistol was when I was taking my live Glock 17, and I was just playing around with simunition rounds, and I was like, I wonder if a simunition round will fire through a live Glock. And I put the simunition round in there. It fires, but that little plastic cup that comes out of the casing that projects that sim round, it swelled up inside the breech. And I believe that's probably by design so that people don't use live guns with simunitions. That way you decrease the chances of live guns potentially being loaded with live ammo and then actually shooting somebody that doesn't need to be shot. And with that, the slide did the same thing. Like, it would not come out of battery. And I had to take a cleaning rod and knock that damn thing loose. So this malfunction that he's got going on here, probably, most likely, a casing has swollen out inside that breech, and it's just locked in place. So what can he do? Obviously, he's not going to have a cleaning kit right there to put a rod down the barrel and knock it loose. What he could do is take that rear sight and set it against that bumper there and just drive that gun down hard as he can, and that will rack the slide back and make it work. And then you can by hand do a few cycles of the slide, make sure it's moving correctly, do a function check right there, pull that trigger, hold that trigger, rack that slide, release finger, see it resets, and then pull trigger again to get your click, rack slide, and release trigger, hear click. So that's something he could have done in that moment, because he has time and distance to be able to do that. All right, like, that guy's far enough away. The dude's obviously running away. So that would be something that he could safely do in that moment to get this primary gun back in the fight. But only because he has time and distance on his side. If it was bad guys a little bit closer, he is completely by himself. He's not really sure if that bad guy's coming back or not. This would be where you would just ditch that primary gun, drop it, and go to your backup gun. And this is why you should have a backup gun. Two reasons why you should have a backup gun. One, because your primary gun has failed in some way, whether it's a mechanical failure or you just don't have any more ammo to run through it, or you want to arm another person who doesn't have a gun, or their gun has been lost or failed in some way. So if he had been closer to the bad guy by himself, what he should have done in that kind of scenario is drop that gun, go to the backup gun, and be in the fight. And this is where I like having my backup gun being able to accept the same magazines as my primary gun. So I've recently, within the last few months, switched to Glock 47, but for the last decade or so, I've been carrying a Glock 17 and also a Glock 26. And the magazines for the Glock 17, Glock 47 will fit into the Glock 26. So if I were to ever run into a scenario where my 17 or my 47 just isn't working anymore, or I've lost it, I can go to my backup gun, my Glock 26, and if I have any spare magazines left on me that was for my primary gun, I can put those into my backup gun and they're going to work. So that's what I recommend, is getting a backup gun that accepts the same magazines as your primary gun. But that's just me. And that's what I would say he would need to do, like I said, if he was closer to the bad guy and there was no backup there. So what's he do after noticing that his gun's not cycling, not working? He stows it and he goes for his rifle. He's having to get keys to open he's having to get his keys out to open the trunk space or the cargo space. This is where key fobs are really helpful. Having the key fob on you and being able to press the button to release the trunk is faster and more efficient than fishing around for keys. And then if you have keys and you got multiple keys on that set, trying to find the right one to go into it. There is a company called 09 Holsters, and they make a key fob holster where you take the fob for your vehicle and it goes in this little Kydex sheath, and you can mount it to your belt, or if you got a vest, you can put it on your vest somewhere. And what that does is that puts that key fob in the same repeatable orientation. So whenever you reach up to it and the top left corner, when you press that top left corner button, you know specifically what that's going to do. Or you press the one to the right, you know what's going to do. You press the one to the bottom, you know what it's going to do. And if he would have had a setup like that, to where he could just reach to his belt or reach to his vest and hit the trunk button or the gate button to undo that rear gate right there, that hatch door, he could have clicked that and got that door open a whole lot faster than him rummaging around for some keys and trying to get that key in that keyhole. Now, the second issue that he has is, one, there's no interior light back here, shining light in here, so it's kind of hard for him to see. And his rifle case, which is going to be a soft-sided rifle case, it's hard to tell because it's so dark and we don't see very good image from this. Excuse me. But it looks like maybe the rifle case is just not in a position to where he can easily get it. I think he has to move some stuff around to get to it. And then he seems to be struggling with finding the opening for this rifle case. So, the best option for rifle stowage is in the cab, in my opinion, because it's right there with you. You can either have it in the vertical mount kind of position where it's in between the seats and up against the cage, or you can have the ceiling mount where it goes across horizontally from B post to B post. That, I think, is a more efficient way to have a long gun because it's in the cab there with you. You can get it out, deploy a lot faster than you can if you have to go to the rear of the vehicle to get that thing out. So if you're having to keep your rifle in the trunk of your vehicle or in the cargo space of your vehicle, you've got, well, there's actually 3 options. You can have one of those mounts like what you would have up in the cab. You just have it set up in the back where the rifle is exposed and it's in that locking mount, and all you got to do is press a certain button to make it unlock and pull it out. That's one option. The other 2 options are in a hard-sided case or a soft-sided case. I think a soft-sided case would probably be better because with a hard-sided case, you're going to have multiple latches on there that you're going to have to contend with, whereas a soft case, you just got a couple zipper pulls and you can I think, more quickly open that thing up. But either way, whatever that case is, it needs to be on top of everything else. The 2 things that need to be on top of everything else and should never be buried under stuff is your rifle and your trauma kit. Those 2 things take precedence over everything else in that trunk. Everything else goes below that stuff. When it comes to a soft-sided carry case, I think that you should have both your zipper pulls to the middle of that case, and those zipper pulls, the little tabs on them, cut them off and replace those with bright colored cord. Whether it be white paracord, yellow paracord, orange paracord, neon green paracord, something that is completely different than the color of the bag itself, which most of these tend to be kind of black colored or green colored. When you have a black rifle case and it's got the black zipper pulls on it at night, that's very hard to see. It's very difficult to see. So if he would have had like white paracord or the neon green looking paracord, you can even get glow in the dark paracord. If he would have had that on the zipper pulls, it would have been a whole lot quicker, I think, for him to identify where that was and rip that thing open and get that rifle out and put it into play. So, if you do the soft-sided rifle case, think about replacing those zipper pulls on the zippers and replace them with something that's high contrasting in color so it doesn't blend in with the rest of the bag. There's even oh man, what's the name of that company? Crap, I never forgot the name of it, but you can get, it's basically for scuba divers. They're like little tritium vials on a string, and like your sights on your gun if you got night sights, and it's just a little tritium vial in there, and it's for a zipper pull, so it's meant to be like put on like dive equipment and stuff. But you could replace your zipper pulls with that, and it's going to be glowing, like night sights or whatever, and that's something you could see. But anyway, replace those zipper pulls with something that's highly visible in night. You don't need to be all subdued colored with that stuff, right? Like, you're not a sniper. You're not going to be dragging this rifle case behind you in the brush, and a bright colored zipper pull is going to give your position away, right? Be realistic here. It's just staying in the damn trunk or the cargo space of your vehicle, right? Put something bright colored on those zippers.
9113 Sauk, he ran back towards water. A squad just passed him. He just ran in the woods. Dave, he ran that way in the woods. 9113 Sauk. I've been grazing the arm. I'm 10-2. I'm in the fight.
Hey, are you hit?
713, grazed in the arm.
Are you hit? Right in my arm, I think. I'm good, I'm good.
Alright, now we see him tinkering with the sight. So when it comes to optics on rifles, and even pistols, these things can be, well, depending on some of the models for a rifle, these things can be left turned on all the time. Just like the red dot sight on your pistol, it stays on all the time. And it has a long battery life on it, like thousands of hours. And it can stay on for a year, right? So that's one option of doing it with the rifle, is you can just leave that sight on. And depending on the model, you can leave it on. And when you pull the rifle out, it's already on. You ain't got to tinker with it, mess with it. You just need to do the same kind of battery rotation that you do with your pistol if you have a red dot sight on your pistol. So whenever you want to replace the battery in your pistol, go ahead and do it with your rifle too, if you're going to keep that rifle sight turned on at all times. There are some rifle sights that after a period of inactivity, they can turn off. And so, yeah, sure, that's a nice feature, so that a thing don't get left on and the batteries die. There's also some sights that are shake awake. So the sight, if it doesn't move for a long period of time, it powers down, but the minute you move it, it turns back on. So obviously if you would have had something like that, it would have already been on at this point. But having the sight completely turned off, yeah, you can do that, and save your battery power and whatnot. But realistically, in this kind of role, I think it's probably a better idea just to leave that rifle sight on at all times, just like you have your red dot pistol sight that's going to be turned on at all times. Just go through a battery rotation schedule on it, and just keep feeding it fresh batteries on a rotation. That way it's always going to be powered up.
Hey! I need lights!
I also like his mindset when he gets on the radio saying he's been hit, he's 10-2, whatever their version of 10-2 means, and he's in the fight. Yeah, that's good. Like that. So like when he say earlier, when he's backing up and he goes, I'm hit, everyone else, like, they're not there. They don't know exactly what's going on. So they don't know the gravity of what hit means. Like, is he hit in the arm? Is he hit in the hand? Is he hit in the toe? Is he hit in the chest? Is he hit in the face, head? Like, where's he hit at? And so when he had broadcasted, I'm hit, of course that's putting in everyone's head, oh my God, we got an officer down, right? Like, he's been shot. And so when he gets back on the radio again, he says, I've just been grazed in the arm, I'm in the fight. Like, that is a motivational message to everyone else, right? Like, they're like, oh, Ben's good, he's alive, he's in the fight, right? So that is a huge boost for positive mental attitude right there. That's going to take everyone who was initially thinking, oh my God, Ben's been shot, oh shit, to I'm in the fight. They're like, fuck yeah. Right? So I like that. Now, was he having that mindset of getting on the radio and boosting everyone's mental attitude? No, probably not. But it probably did, like, do that for people. That probably put them in a better mindset and being like, hell yeah, our guy's still in it, right? Like, we ain't got one down. So something like that, this in of itself, you know, people being able to hear the voice and say that you're still in, like, that can move people's mindset and keep it in a forward posture.
Traffic coming up water right now. Tell all Baraboo squads to stop. Hey, I got
Alright, so pay attention real quick.
Hey, I got one.
This big ass drainage ditch right here, so he ends up kind of falling on this here in a little bit. He got his rifle out. It's ready for the fight. Now he's going to dick around with his pistol some more, try and fix this thing.
Get that sweat.
Alright, so I'll skip just a little bit. Too much. Alright, so he's getting his vest out. When he's getting his gloves on, now he's getting a outer vest, which is undoubtedly going to have rifle plates in it, and he's going to put that on and throw it over his uniform. And what that does is that ends up blinding the camera. So we don't have much in the way of any video past this point. We just have audio.
I got a malfunction on my pistol.
Hey, somebody get on that car. I don't know what your name is.
On the car. They're moving in the car.
So really, past this point, we'll have to go to the second deputy's body cam footage to have any good more commentary. But with this Benjamin Goodrow's body cam footage, there is some noises that you hear, and then along the way, and I forget which point it was in the video here, someone ends up taking his vest off and checking him for injuries or further injuries. I just don't remember where along it was. I think it's right in here. Excuse me. He's also at some point reached up into the vest and hit the mute button.
They're in this car here?
No, yes, they're in the
1050, Chris.
Just be patient, I gotta figure out.
Or an AR pistol. Yes, yeah. He was hauling ass, was trying to catch up.
Sounded like he said something about AR pistol. I haven't listened to all this.
You go around. Hey, of course it is.
So they'll kneel down and put you. Alright, so at that point, he's hit the mute button on his camera at the 29-minute mark. And then it's not until 34-minute mark that someone else lifts his vest up to check him out to make sure he doesn't have any more injuries. This is a good thing to do following your initial contact. Endorphins and adrenaline are pumping so strong in fight or flight mode that it can mask serious injuries. There have been people who've been shot before, been stabbed in a fight before, and they didn't even know it because of so much adrenaline and endorphins pumping through their body. There's been people been in fist fights and the opponent pulled out a knife and they didn't know it and started stabbing them multiple times. And during the moment, they just thought they were being punched by the person or hit by the person. And it wasn't until after the encounter was over that they figured out, oh shit, that dude stabbed me. People shot in gunfights and just didn't know that they had been shot. The body can be really great at masking pain during fight or flight with the dump of adrenaline and endorphins going through the body. So, following initial contact, yeah, it's a good idea for you to do an initial check on yourself, right? Go head to toe really quickly, see if you see any blood, treat yourself if need be, and then when it is safe to do so, there's more people there, have someone check you out. Have someone from that third-person view go head to toe, checking you out, making sure that you don't have any holes in you. So that's what that person did. And then here in a second, he's going to put his vest back on. And then we're going to go back to nothing. And then it's like that. No video, no audio for a very long period of time until the end of the video. And an ambulance is on scene, and they're going to get him in the ambulance. And then, boom, he's in the ambulance with these guys. And this is where his video ends at. So, that's it for Benjamin Goodrow's body cam footage. Now we'll go on to the next body cam. All right, and here is the last body cam footage from Matthew Tate. Again, the first few seconds are no audio because it's in buffer mode. Let's go ahead and skip 30 seconds.
Roger, good, no traffic. We are just on the shot fired, shot fired!
Shots fired, holding repeater.
42 in a row.
Sauk, shots fired, shots fired. I need all responding units, 1033 to this location. Shots fired. I hear ya. What do you want? Just hang tight for now.
Hey, he ran that way.
I got cover on the car. Oh, sorry, bud. Let me close this. Cover in the woods. Watch to the left. He ran off to the left into the woods. 9113, I need you to kill that siren.
9139.
Do you have a long gun or short? Hey, are you hit?
9113, breathe.
Are you hit? I'm good, I'm good. Hey! I need lights! Where is he? Hey! Take your squad and get me lights in these woods over here now!
You want me to bring mine up or leave it there?
Stand by, you guys. Hey, I need, you got long gun? Here, you got one now.
I got one.
I need you on that car facing these woods. I need you back here facing this woods. 9113, I need that fucking siren off. Get that squad out of there.
Do
you have a spotlight that you can put up there?
I do.
Both of you to passenger side.
Okay, watch it, but I gotta get. I can't, bud.
Okay.
You just come up and cover me.
Gotcha.
You got light on that fucking thing? Okay. You just step forward. Good. Keep walking. I see movement in that car.
Oh, the car?
Unit OT.
You're good.
All right, so the very beginning of this, not much comes from this guy. Could he have potentially drew his pistol and put some rounds downrange towards the bad guy? Plausible. I'd have to synchronize the videos or look at least the timestamps to see from his dash cam or his body cam, see if the timing would have been right. But I can't remember off the top of my head what his dash cam looked like. But it's plausible that when he came up on it, shots were being fired. He came to a stop. Other officer was in reverse, getting out of there. I'd say it's possible that he could have seen the bad guy, and that he could have drew his pistol and stepped out and fired at the bad guy. And he may know that he's not a very good shot at that distance, and he may have decided not to shoot because he didn't want to send rounds in that direction, knowing that there's houses over in that way, and not have a high degree of probability of hitting the guy. So if that's the case, can't blame him at all for not wanting to shoot. But certainly think it's plausible that he could have at least drew down and got a sight picture and maybe considered it. I did like how once he got out and he got his rifle out, once he finally got the the gate open, it seemed like he was messing around with this. He reached it multiple times up under it trying to get to unlock. It looked like to me maybe he reached towards his body and maybe hit the fob or something to unlock the vehicle, maybe. I'm not sure, but he finally got this thing open after fingering it a few times, and very quickly able to get his rifle out. I liked that. The rifle's right there. There's nothing in the way of it. He's very, very quickly able to open that thing and get it out, put it into play. And very, very smooth deployment of the rifle and charging that thing and getting it dangered up. That's pretty good. Looks like he has a light probably attached to his vest. Freeze frame just right. I guess he's got a light attached to his vest. So there's a lot of different products out there now that make this a little bit more of a feasible thing to have some kind of light on your vest, or even if you don't have a vest, you're still doing the uniform shirt with the vest under it. There's some options out there for you that you can have a small enough light to essentially almost get like a headlamp effect, so to speak. You have hands-free lighting so that you can rummage around it and look for things. Still, I think probably the better thing is the lights be able to work in the rear cargo area. If they're disabled for tactical reasons, okay, I understand that, but at least maybe have a switch in the back that as soon as you open the gate, you can reach in there and flip that switch and it turns your lights on for you so you can see what the heck you're doing. The rifle case is right there on the top. We also see medical right here on the top. So this guy's got the stuff squared away. He's got it set up the way it needs to be set up. The rifle bag, he's got it in long ways, and he's got his zipper pulls right down in here to where all he has to do is just reach for it, rip it up, and then pull
pull the long gun out long ways. And again, that deployment, as soon as he gets that thing out, he very quickly charges that thing up and gets it into play. It looks like he does take a few seconds messing with the sight. And as I talked about earlier with the other guy's rifle, if the sight is capable of doing it, I would recommend just leaving it on. Just leave it on and change batteries out whenever you change out batteries on your red dot pistol. And if you don't have red dot pistol, then come up with a battery changing schedule for your rifle. Switch those out every so often. He also appeared to have a camping chair in the back there. It looked like the 4 little rubber pads for the legs of a camping chair in there. And I can tell you, a camping chair is a pretty good piece of equipment to have, especially if you're going to be out somewhere for an extended amount of time and you want to sit down, right? That, or it could have been one of those pop-up tent things. Kind of doubt it was a tent. Looked almost more like, to me, probably a camping chair. The only negative thing so far I can see about this rifle is a 1-point sling. I think as far as versatility goes, a 2-point sling is a much better option.
The squad just passed us. We just ran in the woods.
I hear ya. What do you want? Just hang tight for now.
Dave, he ran that way.
I got cover on the car.
Oh, sorry, bud. Let me close this.
Cover in the woods. Watch to the left.
All right, so I'll fast forward it some. He ends up handing his rifle off to somebody. So I think if I remember correctly, this guy is supposed to be a sergeant, or he's some kind of leadership role. I know that. So he hands his rifle off to someone who can operate it, and he takes on a leadership role. He starts directing people on what they need to be doing. So good on him for recognizing the fact that he's not a rifleman at this point, right? Like, he needs to be taking a step back instead of he's leading from the front, right? He's up there with the guys, but instead of him being at the front of the line, he needs to take a step back and see all his moving pieces and direct them on where they need to be going. So he hands the rifle off, and
Get that fucking siren off. Get that squad out of there.
I don't know. I didn't think he hit my face. I put a couple rounds through my.
Are you good?
I'm good.
Where you hit?
My arm. I don't know. I didn't think he hit my face. I put a couple rounds through my windshield as he's running.
So everybody, just keep cover for me, okay? Hey, I need one Baraboo unit to move up here. I need one of you guys up here.
All right, Sarge. White male, white or Hispanic male, leaned out of the window, started firing.
Right here.
So he ran up in the woods.
He's got the car right now.
He ran up in the woods this way. Okay.
Gotcha.
We got Scott's down there, Myers on the other side.
Yeah. All we know is he ran into the woods this way, and I have no cover over there. So just keep an eye on that, okay?
Yep. All right. So
you are here on that car for right now.
Yep. Hispanic or white male wearing a black shirt.
Okay.
Possibly jeans. Out the window, started firing at me. Got out, kept firing at me. Ran up into the woods.
Okay.
We got two officers passed.
Well, so we're all 10-2 at this point. I'll give you 10-43 in a moment.
All right, so his portable radio here. For some reason, he does not have a remote shoulder mic or lapel mic, whatever you want to call it. I think that a shoulder mic is a necessary piece of equipment for a public safety radio, whether you're law enforcement, your security, your EMS, fire, rescue. If your job is going to require you to be able to use your hands for multiple things, then, and not just use your hands, but to rapidly and emergently use your hands, you need to be able to have hands-free communications ability. Meaning, you don't need to be holding the freaking radio in your hand. For law enforcement security, the reason why that is so important is if you're holding that radio in your hand and then, boom, contact, shots fired, you're in the fight. You need to get your gun out. And to be effective with your gun, you need a good two-handed grip on that gun. How are you going to accomplish that when you're holding a radio in your hand? You're not. There's been plenty of videos out there that show that when people have stuff in their support hand and the fight happens, both hands go together, and whether it's a radio, flashlight, set of keys, they try to get a two-handed grip and it gets all screwed up and it just doesn't work. So that's one problem there, is you're not going to get a two-handed grip on that gun. Second problem is, in that fight, in order for you to get a good two-handed grip, you may drop that radio. And you may have to beat feet and move away, get off the X from where you were at when you dropped that radio and take cover. And you may not be able to leave your position of cover to go retrieve that radio and start talking to people. Because if you do, your ass is going to get shot. So it is imperative, in my opinion, that portable radios have the lapel mics on them. It just makes more sense. And I know, some people were brought up in their careers to not like the things, like the older guys and stuff, they'd be like, oh yeah, you don't need that thing. You get into a fight, that thing's just going to come undone. It's going to be dangling everywhere. Whatever. Yeah, sure, that can happen, but there's a remedy for that, right? So there's a product out there from a company called Mic Loop, and that solves the problem of you losing the lapel mic. It puts a cord around it, essentially, and it dummy cords it to your body, to your vest, and you can yank on it, tug on it, smack it, hit it, and it's not coming flying off. It's staying anchored to you. You can accomplish the same thing by buying some shock cord and making your own little loop for it. Some people use hair ties. I don't recommend hair ties because those things can pop loose very easily. I would recommend that company Mic Loop, or buying your own shock cord and making your own little dealio to make an anchor point for that lapel mic. But the key is public safety radios need to have lapel mics on them, because you may need to very quickly use both your hands, and you don't want to drop that radio and damage it. Like, well, if you drop the radio and it freaking breaks and you can't talk on it anymore, but dropping it and then becoming separated from it. So it's always better when the radio is attached to you and you ain't got to worry about losing the damn thing. And you can just reach up, click the button, talk, and then very quickly let go. And the button that you pressed is going to be where you left it at. So that's the only negative thing really I got to say so far about this guy, is the fact that he just doesn't have a lapel mic on his radio.
I have a description. White or Hispanic male, wearing a black shirt. Use caution. Shots were fired at us. What other units do I have responding here? Can some guys turn down your radios a little bit, please?
12. You have 232 at Water and Effinger shut down. 221 is at Water, or is at 113 in Manchester with traffic stop. 9142 is at Water and Ash. 9121, 9139, 9182, 317, 323, and 325 are all en route.
And 4. All units en route need to partner up. We need a perimeter. We need to get Effington Road closed down. Manchester needs deputies on it, and we need to get it from Manchester to 113.
So he has a mapping app brought up on his phone. So he is now he's in command and control phase right now. Like, he's doing a pretty good job of coordinating the resources that he has on the scene and his incoming resources. And he's utilizing that map to figure out where he's going to move his chess pieces. There are some pretty cool products out there that make this a better seamless process. And so that not only do you have a map that you see where everyone's at, but everyone else who has that same app and device, they can look down at their maps and see the same thing you're looking at. And as you're drawing real-time arrows and stuff on this map, it's updating on theirs and they're seeing the same stuff too. Of course, that kind of stuff costs money. And as I've talked about before, agencies just ain't really got a whole lot of money to begin with. But there's some pretty cool products out there that you could look into and see about trying to incorporate that into your overall plan there for coordinating searches and etc. It makes it a whole lot easier when the department has department issued phones, and so you can have all those things synced together and working together, because if you end up having someone who has some other thing and it doesn't work on it, etc., then it may not work for everyone. But like ATAC is something that's out there that can be utilized, and other programs out there that just make this an easier process. Kind of like Blue Force Tracker, where you see where everyone's at on the map, like their stuff's broadcasting. Certain radio systems. So I know, for example, right off the top of my head, Motorola's Moto Turbo. It has mapping integrated into its dispatching software, and also the radios themselves. They're GPS enabled, so every radio shows up on the map, shows exactly where they're at, and you can configure them to be continuous real time, or they update every so many seconds or minutes, so you can see how fast the vehicles are going, etc. But you can also instead of transmitting just voice over radio, you can also transmit data. And so you could have radios hooked to computers and stuff, and then the laptops that are in the vehicle, you could bring up that mapping software, see where all the stuff is at, where all the different radios are at, who's where and everything, and do geofences, and there's just a lot of cool stuff out there. But unfortunately, it just costs a lot of money, and a lot of places just can't afford it.
All units responding.
It's okay.
Need to partner up.
Hang on.
We need Effinger shut down. Manchester.
There's nothing we can do until we get some personnel here, guys. So everybody, just stay focused, okay?
And you'll be searching.
Well, Sauk, if you haven't already, I need one contacted. I'm requesting ERT and the drone team. We have not approached the vehicle, and I do not know if there's anybody in it.
All right. So he's wanting the SWAT team and the drones to come in. So earlier he was talking about, he's wanting to move people up and have people positioned and everything, and he wants the lights being shined into the woods and everything. Okay, that's great. Let's assume for a second that we are the bad guy. and that we are in these woods over here, and we decided to backtrack a little bit. All these flashy lights on these vehicles are, one, showing exactly where you're at. And for the person in the woods looking out, you can see everyone standing around these vehicles with all the lights flashing. So there's enough people here to where he could say, hey, this vehicle back here, block the roadway, turn on your rear flashers. And that would be enough warning power for vehicles coming up there for them to know to stop. And then these vehicles here, turn off the flashing lights. If it has takedowns in the light bar, activate the takedowns. Position the front of the vehicles facing the woods, activate those takedowns, and turn on your spotlights. And I would say turn off the headlights because you have your tail lights that are turned on, and those things are glowing, and if you're behind your vehicle, you're going to be silhouetted by that red light coming from the tail light. So I would turn the headlights off and just turn on takedown lights and spotlights and have them pointed to the woods. And I wouldn't even be around the vehicles. I wouldn't be taking cover behind these things because vehicles just suck for cover. I would have people a little bit further back to where they wouldn't be as visible around the vehicles. I might even say it might maybe be a decent idea to have someone go into the woods up into this area over in here and just sit. That way, if this guy is coming through the woods, one, that person's not near all this commotion over here with the running vehicles and the background noise and people talking, the radio, all the extra radio chatter and stuff. They're up in the woods and they can hear if the dude's coming. You're going to hear the crunching of leaves or passage of a person going through the foliage and everything. And the bad guy who could be going through the woods is not going to know that they're there, right? He's going to obviously assume that everyone's down here at the vehicles. I talked earlier, if I remember correctly, about white light and how it can really play against you. So white light, when we talk about that, we're traditionally talking about flashlights and stuff. But vehicles with their running lights and emergency lights, that's light, right? Yeah, you might have blue and red and orange and stuff, but it's still light, and it's going to play against you. Like I said, the tail lights can keep you illuminated enough to where a person in the woods, they can see you. They can see your outline. They can see the light reflecting off your badge, your name tag, whatever. And so you might be behind a car, but you're still being illuminated by that brake light, and they can still see you. And of course, without being there and being able to see what ambient light looks like, some of these houses that are kind of near there, they might have porch lights and stuff on. And so, that porch light, even though you're not standing directly behind the vehicle and all the lights on the vehicle are off, that the porch light or that security light around there could be casting enough light down to where you're silhouetted and you can be seen from the woods. So if it was something like that, where behind him, where the house and stuff is, if there's so much ambient light there, that could change things a lot because everyone's going to be lit up in a sense. So it may be even to their advantage to put everybody who's on this side over here, move this vehicle up a little bit more, put spotlights going into those part of the woods and the vehicle down there, and put everybody in this wood line right here hanging out. That way, if the dude is making his way through the woods, one, they're going to hear him and see, or I wouldn't say see him, but they're going to hear him, and then they can turn those lights on that they got on their long rifles and illuminate. But if the dude is in a position over here to where he can be looking out, then all he's going to see is vehicles, and he's not going to see the silhouettes of people. If there are ambient lights, those things could be eliminated. Or just moving your position, like changing your position. Nothing says you have to stay exactly where you're at. You can back it up a little bit. You can move forward a little bit. With these houses right here next to them, what if this dude did get into a gunfight with them through the woods? Well, what's in the backdrop behind these officers? A person's house. You may want to be considerate and say, hey, we're going to move a little bit further on back to where there's nothing but woods behind us. That way, if we get into a gunfight, at least when the dude misses us, his rounds are going into the woods instead of into these people's house right behind us. So you can sometimes choose where you want to have a gunfight at. A lot of times it doesn't play out that way, but you can still manipulate things like that and just move people further on back. That way, if it does go kinetic, those people who are asleep, or who they're probably not asleep now, they probably woke up from that 5 minutes of siren, but those people in that house aren't going to be eating rounds if there's a gunfight that breaks out.
10-4-12.
You sure you're not hit anywhere else?
Nope.
Do you know if you connected with him on any of your rounds?
I do not know.
I got probably 6 shots fired at him through my windshield.
Okay. Everything is just steady for now. Just keep maintaining cover, you guys. We can't do anything until we get some more help. Is there anyone else down here?
So it's my SUV and Keith and Keith and them guys are up there. We passed a bearable unit on the way in.
Okay.
From 113 up. He's
Okay.
at the intersection.
Okay. Can she be left alone or no?
No, she's with me.
Okay. I want you guys to move up with me and keep eyes on the car.
Okay.
And I need 9113 to come back here. I need him. He's got shots fired.
All right, so it sounds like that girl might be in training. hell of an FTO for her. So if that is the case, she's in her training process or whatever. There needs to be 2 rifles in a vehicle when there's going to be 2 officers in it, right? Like, you don't need just 1 rifle. If there's 2 officers, there needs to be 2 rifles. Going at stuff like this with a pistol sucks. Like, if you know you're going to a gunfight, bring a rifle and bring your friends with rifles. Pistols, the only reason why we carry pistols is because they are comfortable and convenient. Other than that, they suck for gunfights. There's a whole ton of people walking around today who've been shot multiple times with a pistol and they're still alive. Not so much same to say for people who've been shot multiple times with a rifle, or at least shot once with a rifle. Granted, there are some people who are still walking around today, but not a whole lot when you compare them to people who've been shot multiple times with a pistol and they're still walking. So the pistol is good because the majority of the time you're not shooting people, right? Like, think about law enforcement officers and your local agency. How many officers you got, and how many times have any of them been involved in a gunfight? there are agencies out there who've never had a gunfight before. There's agencies out there, the last time an officer got into a gunfight was a decade ago. And then there's some agencies, because they're so large and those statistics of instances go up, or probability of incidents go up, yeah, they've got, multiple officers who've been in gunfights. Some, they have a gunfight once every month or 2 months or something like that. But those are like really big agencies. The majority of the agencies out there, they're not getting in the gunfights. And the majority of the police out there, they go their entire career and never have to fire their gun. So because of that, it makes sense that all you need to carry is your pistol, because there's a high probability that you're not going to get into a gunfight. If there was a high probability that you're going to get into a gunfight, you'd be carrying a freaking rifle all the time. But since there's not a very high probability of you being in a gunfight, carrying around a pistol is suffice. Because if an emergency occurs and you need to defend yourself with deadly physical force, that pistol can do something. It's not as good as a rifle, but it can do something. So, in that profession, there are times where you may be going towards something that could be a gunfight, and something like this is a gunfight. So, because that possibility does exist, even though it's not that very high of a possibility, you should still have a long gun available to you. So, any agencies out there that, have their FTO program where they put the rookie with a seasoned officer and they're riding around, there's only one rifle in that car, you're doing it wrong. Both of those officers need a freaking rifle.
So I need him to just come back here, okay? So you come on up here. Go ahead. 9113. They're going to relieve you here. Yes, I will take any units at this point. We also need people called in to cover calls for now. So just all call at this point.
So earlier I griped about lapel mic, and he might have a Bluetooth mic on. So, because he just reached up like he was talking in a microphone and then let go and his hands are free. So he might have a Bluetooth mic. So, sorry about my rant. Still valid.
Come back here. Come here. Did he shoot through your windshield?
Yeah. Probably 2 rounds through my windshield.
He just kept shooting too. I saw it.
Just kept running and shooting me. I feel good. I don't feel any rounds through me. Put probably 6 rounds through here, but I got a malfunction. I can't clear it.
You go. Yeah. It's out of fight. You just stay wrong rifle.
So yeah, that slide is locked in there pretty good. I talked about this earlier. Like I said, the only thing I can think of is that the bad casing and it's swelled too much and it's locked it in there, or some of the glass debris mixed in with it when it drove home and now it's locked in there. I would suspect that if he took that rear sight and put it against that bumper and pushed down hard, it would cycle.
I don't know the address of this. I'm pretty sure there's a house that comes up on top of this hill.
Okay, 2 more times.
12 Sauk. I need any and all responding units to turn on. I am responding. Or correction, GXP.
There's a house down here.
Yep. Yeah, there's one down there. I swear there was one. I could be wrong there, though. We're just in a shitty spot.
I know. Yeah, this is not good at all.
You can come around.
You're all right. Just hang tight. I got to find a staging location.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm moving that red truck.
Yep. That's fine. Just hang tight, bud. I'm right behind you.
Yeah. Haven't seen anything.
You're good. Just so I have these guys over here watching the cars. So I think for your main focus right now is, I think he's got the wood line here, so you're good here. So I want you to come back here and cover rear here, if you don't mind. You are essentially, you guys are just covering guard for right now because we don't know where he's at. Yep. So there is a deputy behind that squad as well.
This one?
This one right here. Yep.
Very sure.
All right.
10-4 southwest on East Wood, within the hold of the residences.
Where I need a staging location right now. We are in about the worst fucking spot we could be in the county. But what is this parking lot right here on Water Street? Circus World. That's where we're going. Is it the lower Circus World lot?
The Circus World lot would be to the east of the actual museum. There is, that does connect up to the river.
Go ahead.
The river is not between.
I'm going to take the other with drones to try and clear the vehicle.
At this point, just get it in the air over the woods. This guy's still armed, and we don't know where he's at.
There's a footbridge that goes from the back of that lot on Mill Street back up behind the road to our left road now.
What about the dog park?
Dog park would be accessible from here.
I understand that, but it's a long ways down there, right?
If you go down. Yeah, it's a little ways away. I think Circus World's going to offer you the best. Problem is they're going to be backlit now like crazy. Otherwise, there's the church up on off of Roslyn. That's got a pretty good sized lot. It's elevated.
Where's that at?
We're over here. Is that Circus World?
This is Circus World.
Let's see, Elizabeth. There's Roslyn. This way. Right here. That's probably almost a mile from here, though. Better.
I need something closer.
Circus World's gonna be your biggest lot. That's the closest.
What about
Who's coming in hot over here? Some of them are coming in.
I couldn't tell you. Fuck is that? Oh, that's my fucking canine alarm. Or not. Fuck was that?
Alarm on something. Didn't come from that vehicle, did it?
I don't know.
It sounded like it was to the left.
Hey, Goodrow got an alarm or something for a cell phone or something.
Yeah, he does. That was the page for ERT.
That explains that.
Sauk is 11 in.
So he's been talking about a staging location for more resources to be able to come to and park at. He seems to be indecisive about choosing a spot. Nothing can be perfect. And when you, I won't say fail, but when you fail to make a timely decision and things just keep dragging on, you put yourself in a situation or position to where you're getting bogged down, and you need to make a decision. Like, you need to make it. I mean, yeah, there needs to be some thinking into it, right? Some calculated thinking, but you just can't have all day to think about a decision and then like, okay, we're going to do this. You need to make a decision, like make it now, because you got resources coming in, right? And they're going to be sitting around talking like, where are we going? And then they start getting too close to a certain area, and whatever you choose could be behind them. They're going to have to backtrack, beat feet, go back the other direction. Just causes more confusion, etc. So they came up with a couple places right there earlier. One something circus something, and then one was a dog park or a church or something like that. Just pick one. Just pick one and say that's going to be the staging location for all resources for this incident to go to. And he says he wants one pretty close. Well, you also got to think about your hot zone, your warm zone, and your cold zone. So you don't want to necessarily put your staging location somewhere in your hot and warm zone, right? Because while everyone's sitting around hanging out in the staging area, in the warm zone that this guy could be in, well, he could start opening fire on them, right? So it needs to be somewhere out, probably in the cold zone or outside of that area for your resources to be staging at. So when that guy said something like one location's like maybe a mile away, like that's a pretty good safe area, right? Like, I mean, yeah, there's a possibility as time drags on, this guy's on foot, he can move X amount of distance per hour, he could reach that location, within a short amount of time, but something like that, I think, would be a reasonable distance from the quote-unquote hot zone. It doesn't need to be right up on close on it, because like I said, you don't want it being so close that it's technically in the hot and warm zone of the incident.
I need a staging location. I think the Circus World lot is too close to here based on our weak perimeter at this point. If he could help find a staging location over there for everybody.
So what I just said is basically what he's saying right there. So apparently the circus place is a little too close to where they're at for this perimeter, and so that could be a danger to stage people there when this guy could be so close to it potentially. At least that's the way I'm interpreting it, the way he's saying it.
Anyone 13 on me? I copy. Is she in there alone? Anybody injured? How old are the kids? So old enough to know better. Oh, fuck.
They in this car too?
No, yes, they're in the crashed van. Just be patient. I got to figure out how to get them out of there.
Oh, wow. So that changes things. So it sounded like from the radio traffic that there are people in the freaking van. Kids and sound like a woman. So that was not in the press release. That's interesting. So, yeah, that's what a turd, man. Like, he jeopardizes the life of those kids and that woman like that, and crashing out, and then shooting the gun at the police, knowing damn well that they could return fire and those rounds could have gone through the van and hit some of them on the inside. Like, wow.
Yeah, you want to have anybody there? You want to switch to that one and hold that far? Yep.
Well, so I just have them stay in the van for now. I'll advise shortly. Keep them on the phone. We don't have anybody that's got a car big enough to get these fucking kids out of here. I'm just going to have them hang tight for now. We'll use the Bearcat to get them out. Go. Westbound into the woods.
All right, so you can hear some radio traffic in the background, but you don't hear anything very loud and strong. So that's telling me that they probably, at least he does, he probably has an earpiece in. And so that's probably why we're not hearing a lot of loud radio traffic replying, and what we're hearing is coming from other people's radios.
Yeah, either one's fine with me. It doesn't matter if you just want to coordinate with like the three, I guess. Where is 9139? Is he on repeater?
Yeah, he just said probably works good. Snap-wise, please.
129139. What's your 20? Where? Where are you? What intersection?
There's somebody behind. Oh, I don't know. Somebody behind me.
Turn on your GXP. Are you at 113 down there in Manchester? He's too fucking close with no guard. Do you have anybody with you? Copy. If one of those units can work their way up towards us, bypass the two trucks, which are DNR, and come to the Baraboo SUV, the Ford Expedition, I can use one more up here. So you're north of the intersection then. Okay, you're north of this. He cannot drive down 113 there. He needs to go all the way around. $12.3. If you didn't copy, there's still 3 kids and an adult in the van. I'll stand by until Bearcat's available. I think we'll extract them that way. What's that? I can't hear me. Keith, are you good? Yes, he's good. So you are going to see movement in there. There's obviously 3 kids and 1 adult still in the vehicle. Okay. I copy. Who am I here talking?
I think that sounds like Delta. We got 2 detectives and 2 patrol coming out right now.
Right at this point, we just need somebody to cover calls.
It sounds like Delta just right there taking calls
We just are not in a good spot right now. We're all kind of sitting ducks,
So you said something just a few seconds ago about they just need someone to cover calls. So that's one thing I don't think a lot of people think about is when a major incident like this occurs. There's other things that go on in the community, right? There's other calls for service. So it's not like because this is happening and someone calls police and says, "Hey, I need a police officer." It's not like, well, sorry, we don't have anyone available. Unfortunately, that does happen from time to time. People call police and said, "Hey, I need police. I'm sorry, we don't have anyone available right now. We're all busy." But you still need to manage your resources, and anyone who is available to go back in service can either A, go back in service, or B, this is obviously the time that dispatch is going to be making notifications to people who are off duty and saying, "Hey, are you able to come into work?" and get them to come into work. Depending on how their shifts work and everything, it's 23:50. So if they have a second shift that gets off around that time frame, then dispatch could be calling the second shift people and saying, "Hey, we need you to come back into work. We got a big incident." Or calling other people who are off and seeing if they're able to come in early. Because although this is going to be a resource-heavy kind of incident, you're still going to need to be able to fulfill calls for the rest of the community. There could be someone having a home invasion around this time frame. There could be a car accident 10 miles away that police will need to go to. So He's already thinking about resource management and being able to have other units go on other calls to back up the community there.
You just got to be patient. We got a lot of cover here. We should be all right. If you see any movement in the woods, call it out. If these people come out of their house, you tell them to get back in there.
Use as many airplanes as you like. I want doctor points at drones. Yes. Welcome to Sauk County. That's your second ring, so you're doing it right.
And looks like he hits the mute button on his.
Got a vehicle coming up.
Yep, that's us. That's us. That's us, guys.
Move around. See if you can get your headlights on and see if you can get more mags just in case.
Yep.
You go around there.
I will do that.
And see if the fence is.
You good with that? Because I don't have my IFAC or sling or extra mags or anything.
Yeah. Go ahead.
And then pop your lights on to your headlights.
Yeah, and I got a spotlight. I'll shine up there.
Okay.
Okay.
Ay. Careful, fish. He's up top. How bad are you?
He's not. I'm good. I don't like this at all. It's coolest. 129139 an update. Are you seeing anything?
Of course, just put the wheel down and put your vest in. You got time to get tight. Okay. I got a vest under this one. Okay.
He's got a malfunction in his handgun. We're gonna, when we get some time here, we're gonna relieve him. He's gonna go back to the office.
My body cam does not mount to this outer display carrier. That's in my pocket. If you want me with the RTG,
at this point, no. You're gonna have to stay on it.
And he mutes the camera. I don't know why he's muting it. There's actually some states out there that have laws about audio recording or something, and that's why these camera manufacturers build in the option to be able to mute the camera, so that all you do is pick up video, no audio. As far as what's going on right now, I really don't see a need to be muting the camera. I'm sure they're just jaw-jacking, talking about stuff, but, at any moment, something could pop off and he could forget to turn the audio back on. And so I think just leave the audio on. Like, there's no sense in turning it off. So, not much else to comment on when it's in mute mode here. He did talk about relieving this first guy right here who's been injured. This is probably just glass from, it's either glass from the windshield that's injured him, or it could be some bullet fragments right in there. So we'll hit the skip button, see if we get to anything that could have some audio to be able to go off of. Alright, so they're checking him out again, making sure he doesn't have any holes in him. Looks like maybe something caught their attention. They got their rifle lights on and moving around, pointing at something. Look at that. Let's go back. Look at that old school freaking mag light, man. It's amazing to see, and I'll see this from time to time. Look at that damn thing. Old school mag light. Like, I will occasionally come across videos where you still see these things being used. That is amazing. That's a testament to the product that Maglite made. Like, the damn thing still works after all these years. Yeah, just having to skip through and figure out what the heck is going on without any audio. So here's so I talked earlier about, one, cars suck as cover, and it may be better to move back into the ditch line or the woods. Another reason for that is having a kneeling position on freaking asphalt for 53 minutes. Okay, he hasn't been there 53 minutes. Let's just say he's been there for 30 minutes. Holding a knee for 30 minutes on freaking asphalt, that hurts. It would be a whole lot more comfortable to do that crap, say, behind a tree in the grass. Now, that dude's knees got to be hurting. What are they doing on the radio there? What is that? Alright, so I don't know what he's doing. I guess he's trying to find a different channel on his radio. First I thought maybe he was messing with that guy's radio, but not really sure what he was doing. All right, so see how they got the lights? Let me back up a little bit more. All right, so as you get out of the car, see how everyone's lit up around these cars? They're all bright lights and everything. You see his shadow right here. And then this vehicle's got its lights turned on. And then boom, this one. This one's all dark. And you can barely see these dudes over here. So that's what I was talking about earlier about killing the lights on the vehicle. Like, obviously these can leave their on, you know, blocking traffic. But these up here, they don't need to keep everything on. Keeping everything on just makes you more visible. So I like how they turn their lights off so they'd be more hidden. And look, they're going into the trees. Good idea, guys. Look at him, he's backing off. See? Good thinking, good thinking. I like that. It's like Homer Simpson just disappear into the leaves. Did it someone else? It must have been, was it the dude in the, so earlier in the dash cam footage and other footage, you see that white SUV just Leroy Jenkins into it. I wonder if that's him. Yeah, that's got to be. So that's the car from earlier that drove past everybody, went to the suspect vehicle, and then hit brakes and then backed up again. I guess if I wanted audio, I don't know how to do it on this software, but I guess I could have extracted the audio from the dash cam footage and sync it with the body cam footage here and have an idea of the sounds and stuff that are going on to an extent, except for these times where he walks away from the vehicle. But yeah, that's who that is. So here's Goober. For all I know, this dude's like a total badass. But looks like a SWAT guy or a drug task force guy. If he's a SWAT guy, I'd assume he'd be getting out with a rifle. Probably drug task force. They said detective, so seems fitting. It sucks not having any audio. Oh. So we see on the phone here. So they got a photo of the suspect there. So I guess they're disseminating that to everybody. Alright, so he maybe is SWAT. Came back with his vest and helmet on. So if this guy is really SWAT, then he should have night vision, and so that would make him a pretty good resource to have on scene. He's someone that you could send up into the woods right there and use the night vision to start looking around. No idea what's going on here, but something's got their attention. Alright, so this is him getting back in and leaving. All right, so that's it. Don't see much out of his camera anymore. Back it up. Let me back up this a little bit. See what's the. He actually turns the audio back on.
220 sec. Just information: the male is continuing to walk. Blue shorts, black shirt.
12 data. Can you give me a case number for this, please?
10-4-12.
Alright, so really not much else there. Pretty long video. Lots of stuff going on, and we see an interesting failure with a pistol. Lots of stuff to think about. Some good talking points there. Not much else I can think of off the top of my head that needs to be talked about. I think there's probably already been enough talking as it is. If you like what you hear and see, go ahead and give me a like and a share. If you have not already, hit the subscribe button. Stay tuned for more Monday quarterback videos. Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching.